Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. G.K. Kapoor, former professor, IMI, New Delhi. I have been recording a series of lectures on contract law in India. And continuing with with, with these lectures, today I'm recording a talk on wagering agreements. What is a wagering agreement and what is the legal position of a wagering agreement? A wager may simply be understood as a betting transaction. Say, for instance, T20 World Cup is on. And if A bets with B that Australia will beat New Zealand in the finals, and B says no, it is New Zealand which will win the title in this year 2021. Both of them bet a lakh of rupees. A promising to pay 1 lakh of rupees if Australia loses, and B promising to pay 1 lakh of rupees if New Zealand loses. Now, this is a wagering agreement. Let me, give you the definition of a wagering agreement here, and let me show you the relevant slide. A wagering agreement is defined under Section 30 of the Indian Contract Act as a promise to give money or money's worth on the determination or ascertainment of an uncertain event. So, two things are important. The promise must be to give money or money's worth only. Anything other than money or money's worth will not make the agreement a wagering agreement. And number two, the event on which the money or money's worth is payable is uncertain. So money is payable only on the determination or ascertainment of an uncertain event. So both the parties must be unaware of the results. If, say, supposing the match having already been played, the results already out, one of the parties is aware of the results and the other is not. Now, in such a situation, if they make a bet, then naturally the agreement cannot be called a wagering agreement. Now, in case of a wager, the chance of losing or winning on the part of both the parties must be equal. So a wagering agreement in India, as per Section 30, are declared void ab initio. More so, these are declared as illegal in the states of Gujarat and Maharashtra. So if somebody enters into a betting transaction, say for instance in Ahmedabad or in Mumbai, not only that the transaction shall be void being a wager, but also illegal, that is, it will be punishable also. Now, what about the status of lotteries in India? Are lotteries not wagers? Lotteries are not only wagers, but under Section 294A of the Indian Penal Code, they have been declared as illegal also. So holding a lottery or buying or selling the tickets of a lottery is an offense under Indian Penal Code, and accordingly not only not enforceable but punishable as well. And this was upheld in the case of Sir Dorabji Tata versus Edward F. Lance. And in this particular case, it was even upheld by the court that the permission by the government to hold the lottery does not render it legal. However, in a later judgment of the Supreme Court of India in 1986, in the case of H. Anraj versus Government of India, the Supreme Court held that if holding of lotteries is permitted by the government, then it shall confer upon the purchaser of the lottery ticket two rights, namely a right to participate in the draw, and number two, a right to claim the prize if he is successful in the draw. So these two rights will be conferred, indirectly making it legal and valid, because the purchaser of the lottery ticket is being conferred with these two rights. But Supreme Court did not say it in so many words that holding of the lotteries will be legal. It only settled upon these two rights. The case was being deliberated with respect to whether lottery tickets are goods or not, and should they be subject to sales tax or not. And in that connection, Supreme Court made these observations also. Now, there are a few exceptions to the wagering agreements. That is, in these situations, the contract will not be held to be a wager and thus not a void. Number one is the sale and purchase of shares. If the intention is to actually take the delivery or give the delivery and pay the price against the same. So if the intention is to genuinely perform the transaction, although the transaction has to be at a future date, so things are uncertain whether the price will move upwards or it will move downwards. So at a price, at a settled price in a future, the sale and purchase of shares, if it is a genuine transaction, then it is valid. But if the intention is only to settle in price differences, no deliveries are to be taken, no price to be paid, only in price difference the parties have to settle, then it becomes a matter of speculation only and is not a genuine commercial transaction, and thus a wager and void. Second exception is in case of prize competitions. Prize competitions, which are games of skill, but the prize money must not exceed rupees 1,000 for it not to qualify as a wager or for being valid. And lastly, the exception is the prize of more than rupees 500. Here it is more than rupees 500 to the winner of a horse race. If the prize money is up to 500, then it's a wager. But more than 500 prize money payable to the winner of a horse race, then it is considered to be a game of skill and hence valid. You know, these amounts, 1,000 and 500, they had been mentioned in the Act way back in 1872 and need a revision in view of the inflation, so much of inflation since then. Lastly, we shall talk about contracts of insurance vis-a-vis wagering agreements. Are contracts of insurance, they are wagers and therefore illegal, invalid? Now here you must appreciate that a contract of insurance is like any other betting transaction. Of course, people are not betting for an equal amount. It may be, say, 1:100 bet. Insurance company is saying that your properties will not be destroyed by fire. The other party is saying, no, I am quite feared that my properties may be destroyed by fire. Come on, bet. You pay me so much amount as the premium. And if your properties are destroyed by fire, I'll pay you so much amount, which may be 100 times the amount of the premium, say. So nonetheless, it is similar to a betting transaction and thus should be declared as a wager and void. But these contracts of insurance have not been declared as void because of the two reasons. One reason is that contracts of insurance are contracts of indemnity. They are in the nature of compensation. So it is not the amount of insurance which is payable in the event of the happening of the predetermined event, but it is the amount of actual loss. Supposing a car has been insured against accident and the value of the car is, let's say, 10 lakhs of rupees. The car meets the accident. Though insurance premium has been paid on the value of the car, that is rupees 10 lakhs. But in the event of the accident, if supposing the amount of the loss is just rupees 50,000, so what will be payable shall be 50,000 and not rupees 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs will be payable minus depreciation unless the policy is no depreciation policy, only in the event of the total loss. So it is in the nature of compensation, and therefore it is not considered as a wager, it is a contract of indemnity. And second reason here is that, let me show you this slide also, that these contracts are in public interest. They are not like, the pure betting transactions, whereby one party is put to a loss and other might well gain, and they are rather contrary to public interest. Betting is contrary to public interest. It promotes gambling. But contracts of insurance are in public interest, and that is why they are rather encouraged. So I stop at this today. So we have finished with wagering agreements. And we shall continue with some more talks on the contract law in India next time. Thank you very much for being with me and given a patient hearing.